And what I want to suggest and offer to you today is that meditation is actually a process of gaining mastery over your own mind. And in that process of purification, in that process of losing who you are and losing all of the attributes that veil the truth, or get in the way of the truth, you start to gain more mastery of the mind, but also you start to realize the divine. You start to realize that there is no me that's sitting here meditating, because I'm not separate from anything around me. This incense stick here, at the absolute basic level, the truth of it is that that incense stick is me. That incense stick is you. You and I are exactly the same. There's absolutely no separation between you and I, other than that our minds create a separation. If we were able to get beyond that, going through the process of purification, through meditation, where we gain more mastery of the mind and eventually, step by step, transcend the mind, we see the truth of reality more and more, but not just theoretically. So it's one thing for me to sit here and say, that incense stick is me. I know it's me. But there's another thing to experientially absolutely know, for real, without just theoretically saying it and then 2 minutes later falling back into the illusion of separation in life. Everything is one. Everything is together. And I know that's so cliche to say in this meditation space, everything is one. But it's the truth of it. And so the process of meditation is much deeper than just sitting down, getting into this state of presence, being present, being calm, with this knowing that meditation is inherently about beginning to purify the mind and actually allow all of the kind of debris within the mind, all of the things that bring us down in moments where we're maybe not as strong or feeling a bit weaker. We're allowing all of that to be processed and actually transcended. When I work with students, and especially on one of the courses in my school, there are meditations, various different types of meditations, and not all of them are easy. And I've specifically made it like this. I've specifically made it so that for most people going through the process, they will be challenged at one stage or another. That's quite unexpected for a lot of people. And I totally understand it, because when you Google meditation or when you try to learn about meditation outside of direct guidance from a teacher, everyone's trying to sell you their guided meditation. They want their views on the YouTube and things like that. So they're not going to give you a really challenging meditation because no one's going to do it. And this is really the beauty of having that one-to-one interaction, or even if it's not one-to-one, just that teacher-student interaction through a community or whatever it might be. Because the teacher can then actually explain the reasons why the meditations, from my point of view, I've suggested are more difficult. And it's so important, I believe anyway, that each meditation practitioner does work on meditation techniques that are more difficult, because in that difficulty is where you're growing. We accept that when it comes to gym work or exercising. If you're a businessman and you want to build a massive business, it's not going to be easy. And if it is easy, it's probably not going to be a massive business. If you want a big business, a successful business, there's going to be hardships along the way. There's going to be moments in it that are difficult. However, a lot of people will not take that same attitude into meditation. They think, well, it's got to be easy. If I'm doing a meditation that's hard, that may not feel as though I'm meditating straight away, that can't be right. There must be something wrong in what I'm doing here. And I do get it. There doesn't want to be too much of one or too much of the other. You don't want to be all the time feeling as though you're in this battle when it comes to practicing meditation. So there's definitely a middle ground to be had and found. But really, I suppose what I'm trying to point towards in this particular video is that don't avoid doing meditations that are challenging. In fact, occasionally seek them out. When I worked one-to-one and still do with a very advanced mentor for the last 25 years, basically. When I was 6 years old, I got into all of this. I spent sometimes 6 months, a year, doing meditation technique that was initially very hard. But actually, when you look at that, the difficulty in it is generally speaking, the impure aspect of the mind that you're actually starting to overcome now. You will get to a point with all of these things where they're no longer hard. Even if you're not able to do the meditation in the way that you believe you can or should be able to do it, you will find that you let go of this being a problem anymore. You'll find that your mental attitude around it shifts. The way that you look at it, the way that you manage that thing as being a perceived problem changes. And in all of those little intricacies, in all of those little shifts and adjustments, you're growing, you're transitioning and transcending where you were already. And then you'll find that when you then go back to a technique that's a bit easier, it's way easier because you've spent the last 6 months or so working on something that's been quite challenging for you, and you've had to develop more focus, you've had to be more engaged in it. Never avoid challenging practices. Seek them out. If you're doing something that's really easy, say to yourself, right, well, for the next 3 months, I'm going to do this meditation. People will often say that they can't visualize and things like that. And people will then, and I totally understand why people do this. They will say, well, I've got aphantasia, I can't visualize. I truly believe that every human being has the potential to overcome a lot of things that they can't do at the moment. And this blanket kind of solution or blanket word, I suppose, that then frees you up of needing to try anything like that that's more challenging, I think is problematic. And it's a personal belief. I know that many people say, well, the science says this, the science says that. I feel like we have the power and the capacity to overcome these things. And I've never enjoyed labels. I've never enjoyed people saying, well, you can't do this because you've got that particular label or that particular thing. Some people find it quite handy because they like to know where they're at and adjust to that. I've never been like that. I've been the sort of person, and still am the sort of person that disregards labels. And I don't want anyone to box me in and say, you can't do this because you've got aphantasia. That's not how I want to live my life. I want to just tell myself I can do it and persist and have the absolute self-belief that I will do it if I keep working at it. And if I work at it for 2 years and nothing changes, that the change isn't the important part. The change has all taken place in the me believing in myself more, in the me being consistent, being focused. So many benefits come about through going through that process. A lot of the impurities of the mind that actually meditation is there to bring up and allow you to transcend, a lot of that's actually going to take place. Whereas if you're just sitting there doing an easy breezy meditation, yeah, you're getting deeper. Yeah, you're understanding yourself more. There's loads of benefits to this. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but there's also lots of parts of your mind that aren't being tapped into and exposed. Meditations will expose many different areas of the mind, and different parts of your mind will be enabled to be brought up to the surface for you to deal with, for you to heal, for you to transform and ultimately grow. So there are many reasons why we do different techniques. Some are going to be easier than others. Embrace them all. And if you're interested in learning more about meditation and you want to dive deeper, then I have an online school. There's loads of other ways you can learn, so don't feel like you have to join my online school, but feel free to check it out if you want to. I'll put a link in the description. But failing that, I'll leave it at that, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks a lot.